4 spiritual laws of prosperity. She's a lady who, she's a Unity minister. I believe she's passed on now, but she did a lot of traveling. She did a lot of workshops on prosperity, and this was her simple guide to unlimited abundance. And this is a story she tells towards the end. And it says, about a year ago, I was invited to speak at 3 churches in Minneapolis. Because it was winter, I was worried about getting caught in a snowstorm. But I knew the people of Minnesota would know how to deal with the weather, since they deal with it all the time. So I put it out of my mind. I went to Minneapolis, and what happened was that I didn't get caught in a snowstorm. I got caught in a tremendous ice storm that shut down the freeways and closed all the churches, and all my workshops were closed, or canceled. At the time, I was in a motorhome, and I started to get frightened because I couldn't find an RV park to pull into. All the parks had water systems that were frozen, and they weren't accepting any more vehicles. Finally, I looked through the phone book and found a little RV park about 30 miles south of Minneapolis, and it had one opening, and I said, please hold it for me, I'll be right there. Now this lady's from Texas, and you'll kind of get that in her writing and in her use of words. When I arrived at the park, I saw that it was going to be located at an Indian reservation, an Indian casino. And when I was able to park my motorhome, get it all hooked up so that I had water and electricity, and I was so grateful to be safe and warm in the midst of that terrible storm. Unfortunately, I had a problem. I had a payroll to meet at each week. The fact that I had traveled all this way but was not going to be receiving any money for this workshops had me concerned. So I prayed about it, just to make sure that God understood the situation. And then I reminded myself that the workshops were not my source. God was my source. Once I'd finished my prayers, I wasn't quite sure what to do with myself. The boss had been made aware of my problem, so there wasn't really anything else for me to do about it. And what do I do when there's nothing to do? I try to have some fun. But I wasn't quite sure how I was going to have fun in the middle of an ice storm, so I tried to think of an idea. I looked out the window of my motorhome, and all I could see was the weather was a colorful neon lights of the casino, and that I realized in spite of the storm, they were still open. And it seemed like the casino was probably my best chance of having some fun that day. So I bundled up, put on my snow boots, placed a bunch of quarters in a plastic baggie in my pocket, and slipped and slid across the icy parking lot over to the casino. It was nice and warm inside, although there weren't many people on account of the snowstorm. So I went up to the machine that I had never seen before. It was a kind of a super lotto thing with a $10,000 jackpot. I put in 1 quarter, and I played that quarter. It was fun, but not much was happening. So then I decided I was going to be brave and really play big. So I put in 2 quarters. All of a sudden, all hell broke loose. The lights started flashing, the bells started ringing, and sirens went off, and I was taken aback, and I didn't know what was going on. Then I saw that I had hit every single number, which meant I had won the jackpot. Now, the casino offered to give me a check so that I wouldn't have to worry about carrying around so much money, but I asked that it be given to me in cold, hard cash, because I had never seen that much money in bills, and it was a nice little stack of money. Now, it was great to win the jackpot, but I had gone over to the casino. I hadn't gone over to this casino to win. I had gone there to play. It's a big difference. I knew that God was my source and not the lotto machine. So I was just there to have fun. And I was given a lavish financial surprise, believe me. No one was more surprised than I when those lights started flashing and bells started ringing. And it was fun. So she says, say it and say it like you mean it. Large, rich, opulent, lavish financial surprises now come to me, and I am grateful. Do you want to repeat hers? You want to repeat that? Large, rich, opulent, lavish, financial surprises now come to me, and I am grateful. And I am grateful.
That's an affirmation.
She's a hoot. She's a real hoot. Now, that's our inspirational reading for today. We have someone speaking to us who's going to give us some more inspiration about practicing the power and the praise of thanksgiving. Please help me welcome our own wonderful Reverend Elizabeth Brabant.
Yay.
Sock it to us.
Good morning. Good morning. So happy to be here. And Patty drove me, which is what she's been doing a lot lately. Well, when we praise and give thanks, the great thing about that is that we have more and more things to praise and give thanks for. It just works that way. Have you, any of you ever noticed that? I sure have. Well, words of high regard and approval are the praises that we hear from other people. And we can be aware of this, and it not only helps us, but it helps others as well. When I wake up each morning at my home, usually the first thing that I see is a big Siamese cat named Roo. It's so easy to praise Roo. He's so friendly, and he's smart, and he's cuddly, and he either sits by me or sits on me.
Right.
And I love it. And I love him. So it's, he doesn't really act either way when I'm praising him, but it certainly does feel good to me because I know every word is true. He is a wonderful, wonderful cat. And I was given him he came to me from my vet that saw that I had taken care of another cat, baby cat, so well that she thought I'd be the one for Roo. So I do thank God for Roo. And it's so easy to praise a cat or a dog or animals. They're beautiful, they're cuddly, they're friendly usually. Not all, but most of them. And so praises come gently and easily, and they are channeled through us for them easily, I think. At least that's what happens with me. And so other praise is a little bit different. As I was thinking about praise, I thought of a song that I wrote, and I'll actually be singing it next week. I Thank You, God. It's one that I love to sing, and there are two lines of praise in it, and I'll share them with you. It says, I praise you, God, for this abundant universe. Each step I take, I praise God's wealth in me. And I've said that affirmation a lot because, when I have something in a song, music sticks in my mind better than anything else, I think. And praising God's wealth in each one of us is a good thing to do because the more we praise, the more we give thanks for, the more we have. Well, Thanksgiving is a magnet. It's a magnet to bring our good fortune to us and our well-being. And I love the Psalms in the Bible because I can open to the Psalms and just read a few of them and always get something from them. I don't have to read, a whole chapter or just one psalm sometimes. It's wonderful. Well, Psalm 91 says, quote, "For he shall give his angels charge over you to keep you in all your ways," end quote. His angels are always in charge of me and you and you. They're always there. And I do believe in angels. And I do believe that God takes care of us each and every day of our lives. Sometimes we may not go along with it like it would be wise for us to, but it's always there. A couple of years ago, some of you may remember this, I injured my hip. I was out walking up and down the hill beside my house, which is a good-sized hill. And it wasn't that I walked up and down at once. I was walking up and down at least 4 times every day and sometimes in the afternoon. And I was on a program to lose weight. Well, I was losing weight, but I also injured my hip in the process. And that took me out for a while because it was like sciatica, was what they called it. And one side was worse than the other was. And I had to live with that. And in Psalm 92, this was another helpful psalm that I read. This is what it says. "It is good to give thanks to the Lord, for he meets all our needs." And of course I knew it's good to give thanks. You know, I can't come to this teaching all the time and not know that. However, reading this just clicked somehow. And after that, I gave thanks every day for my healing for almost 2 years. And I did other things too, of course. I had stem cells, I had all kinds of things that supposedly would help me. I had acupuncture and all kinds. But at the same time, what was in my mind, I think, was very important. And that was continually feeling thankful to God for my healing. It's taking place now. Maybe I'm not feeling it right this minute. That doesn't mean that it's not there. It's still taking place right now. So, with prayers of inspiration and with inspired reading and channeling, all these wonderful things that we learn about here at the Teaching of the Inner Christ, we're bound to have good fortune. And I think it's really important for us to recognize our good fortune and be thankful for it. I give thanks to Jesus as I'm praying and meditating a lot. Jesus is my Christ self and my I am self. And he is always there for me, each and every day. And when I allow him, he guides me all the way as I meditate and channel and speak the word of thanks in everything I do. Every day is actually a gift from God to be thankful for. We have so many blessings, especially, I think, here in the United States. All over the world, people have many blessings, but we can be so grateful for all we have. And I think about the gifts that I have from God. I have a wonderful family. One of them is right here, Patty. She's a wonderful daughter. I have wonderful friends. I have wonderful people wherever I go. It seems that I meet more and more, even if I'm traveling. You know, I'll meet people on an airline or wherever, in a restaurant, and those people are all good people. I just don't seem to meet people that are not. And I'm so thankful for that. Well, this last week, I haven't been willing to drive as far as I used to. So Patty said she would take me when we could both find a day to take me up to my cousin Norma's. And she and her husband don't live that far. Where's the actual, remember the actual? Santa Ana. Yeah, she lives in Santa Ana, which is not that far. And yet, it seems like a long way for me now, although I used to drive a lot further than that with no problem. So she drove us, and she dropped me off at Norma's house, and she came in for a while, and we talked, and we shared, and we had some food. And my cousin Norma is someone that I've often said to my family, and probably many friends too, about that she seems much more like a sister than like a cousin. Not that you can't be close to your cousins, certainly you can, and I am, but she does feel like a sister. And she did that day and always. And the wonderful thing that happened that I'm giving thanks for now is that before we left, I've said that I felt like we were sisters for a long, long time, but I don't remember her ever saying that. Before we left, she actually said, gave me, as we were giving each other hugs, which we always do, she said, "It feels more like we're sisters than cousins." And it was just so great to hear that. She feels that way too. I think in actuality it is so. We are sisters. And we are there for each other, to support each other, to love each other, to hug each other. And that's what we do as sisters with each other. Thankfulness is a wonderful thing for all of us. I've written 2 songs about it, and actually I'll sing both of them next Sunday. And I always am feeling open to new channeling and new ideas about Thanksgiving. And praise too, because praise just makes us more aware of what we can and do remain thankful for. So let's just remember the habit of praise does bring us more awareness of what we are to be thankful for. And let's remember that Thanksgiving is a magnet for well-being and for good fortune. And let's also remember that every day, every single day, is a gift from God to be thankful for. We have that gift here today, and we can be thankful for this teaching and everything it does for us and with us, and provides us a place to worship, to pray, to channel, and be thankful together, because there's more strength in numbers, of course. And we take it out then into the community, which I think is a wonderful, wonderful thing. So let's continue our thankfulness for a wonderful life, for a wonderful teaching that's growing every day in numbers. Thank you, wonderful God. And so we let it be.
Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend Elizabeth.